Why doesn't Lubavitch say Veshamru in Friday night davening?
In order to understand the idea of saying Veshamru, we have to go back to the 3rd century in the time of the Gaonim in Bavel. We know that in the time in Bavel, the shuls were not in the city, the shuls were out in the field. People used to walk out before dawn. They would walk out to work. The shul used to be out in the field. They would daven Shachris Mincha, an early Ma'ariv, and before it became dark, they would come back to the city. Being that back then, Ma'ariv was optional, Ma'ariv was Reshus, later on it became Chayva, but back then it was Reshus. People were scared to stay for too long. So instead of davening the regular 18 brachas of Shmor Nesre, they would say 18 psukim. These 18 psukim started with the words Baruch Hashem La'olam, Amen ve'amen, and Hashem's name was mentioned 18 times in every one of these psukim. This was instead of the brachas, instead of davening Shmor Nesre. On Shabbos, they would not say these 18 psukim. Instead of saying these 18 psukim, they would say the pasuk Veshamru. What's the reason they would dafka say the words Veshamru? A few reasons. Reason number one, they needed protection. Veshamru means to be protected. We protect Shabbos, and Hashem protects us. Another thing is, the end of the bracha of Hashkivenu is Baruch Atah Hashem during the weekday. Baruch Atah Hashem Shomer Amo Yisrael Ad. On Shabbos we don't say Shomer Amo Yisrael Ad. We say Hapoires Sukas Shalom. So being that they wanted to get the Shmirah, they would say Veshamru. Third reason is, it says in the Gemara, Im Shoimrim Yisrael Beis Shabbosis. If Am Yisrael keep 2 Shabbosis, Hashem will redeem us. So that's why they wanted to bring out the idea of Veshamru instead of the 18 psukim, as we said, we would say for Shmirah. Later on, in the era of the Rishonim, there's a big debate if these 18 psukim are a hefsek or not. One opinion says it's a hefsek, you should not be stopping between Hashkivenu and between the silent Shmor Nesre. Another opinion says no, being that this was a takana to say it, it's ki geula arichto damu, it's a long geula, the long gal Yisrael, just like Hashkivenu is not a hefsek, also these psukim are not a hefsek. The Rambam, the Rashbam, and the Ramban bring that it is a hefsek, and we're not noig to say these 18 psukim. Nevertheless, it was a minig, like it's brought down by the Rif, brought down by the Rosh, that we still say these 18 psukim, and they're not considered a hefsek. The Alter Rebbe writes in his Siddur that those people and those communities that say these 18 psukim, Baruch Hashem La'olam Amen V'amen, could also say Veshamru. It is not a hefsek, being that it's not a hefsek during the week. It's also not a hefsek on Shabbos. But Alter Rebbe says whoever does not say these psukim during the week should not be saying these psukim also. Whoever doesn't say the Baruch Hashem La'olam Amen V'amen should not be saying Veshamru throughout on Shabbos instead of Baruch Hashem La'olam Amen V'amen. Basically, the Alter Rebbe says it is a hefsek and it's not needed to say. We do not say it. There's a very interesting story. We know that the Alter Rebbe was mechuten with Reb Levi Yitzchok Barditchev. The Alter Rebbe's granddaughter married the grandson of Reb Levi Yitzchok Barditchev. And we know that one time Reb Levi Yitzchok Barditchev asked the Alter Rebbe, why do you hold that Veshamru is a hefsek? Don't you know that there's a whole yerid, there's a whole fair that happens in Milo and Shamayim, that all the angels, all the malachim gather together to come and hear how Yidden are declaring and announcing about Shabbos when they say Veshamru. The Alter Rebbe smiled and said, Nisht by alle yerid darf sein. You don't have to be by every single yerid. You don't have to participate. Yes, there is a great event happening. A Jew does not have to participate in every single yerid, in every single event, meaning that if there's a halachic issue, these halachic issues are much stronger than any type of spiritual event that happens in Shamayim. Nevertheless, being that such a saying was said by Rabbi Yitzchok Barditchev, the Alter Rebbe did put in the Siddur. That's why in our Siddur we find the words Veshamru, but before there's a 2-liner that says that we should not be saying it if we don't say Baruch Hashem La'olam Amen V'amen throughout the whole week.